Hello, this is Christina Wallace and welcome back to my channel. In this two-part video, I've decided to review some of the veniers and carters produced by Sugarartstudio because although they're quite popular, they tend to be quite hard to choose because the pictures of the flowers which were produced with them on their website are quite small. So I hope you enjoy this video. So these next three, Billy Ball, Scabious and Eringyum, probably pronouncing it incorrectly, I'm going to pile them all up as in one go because they're all very similar in principle. Basically they're molds and to make them I highly recommend not to use self-made paste. Much as I'm an advocate for a self-made paste, for this particular purpose I don't think it would work. Instead, I'm using platinum paste here because it tends to be a little bit softer, and at the expense of other qualities it tends to get into all these little nooks and crannies, which is very important in this particular case. You can see the whole video that compares the two pastes and discusses their good and their bad parts. I'm going to leave the link to that video of mine in the description. But anyway, so this is Scabiosa middle, and I think it looks pretty impressive, all considered. I'm not going to demonstrate the other paste, but it won't work nowhere near as good. So if this one is in green and then you dust it to your liking, it would look pretty good. The dusting, by the way, you need to be careful dusting these kind of things because dusting could just obscure the actual patterns and the texture. But obviously this is for a different video altogether. So this mold is taken into it's two parts of it. I'm not quite sure why they've decided to make two parts to this mold because I think it would have been probably a lot easier to just leave it as one part. But either way, what I would do, I would probably put wire in it straight away. That's a common sense thing to do anyway. And then when it's dried slightly, or maybe after putting it in the freezer, I would just pull it out, and that way my pattern would be intact. But here I'm not going to bother with the freezer. I'm just going to demonstrate it. And as you could see, I'm hoping that my camera is picking all the details out. So yeah, it just the detail here is really impressive. But the seams, obviously, you know, if you start working with the seams, it would be quite hard to keep this item as perfect. Yeah, it would help to have a wire in it straight away and, you know, dust it and do all of those things. But I do think that the two parts unnecessarily complicate things. I would be doing another video on veiners, just general veiners, and there's one particular veiner there that is much deeper than this one here, and it works really well, and it really doesn't need, and it's not cut in the middle, so I don't see any point here. Now this one is a billy ball, whatever it is, and billy balls fascinate me because I think they could be done so beautifully, and they could be done really not so beautifully at all. And in this case, I'm afraid out of the three, Billy Ball, it's my least favorite. I don't think it's particularly great value for money, personally speaking. I think you could just make a normal ball and then use different textures, all kinds. You know, you could use this hard bit of the washing sponge, for example, or even kind of the metal texturing brush, and you know, you could just improvise and give it a really nice, a really one-off texture that would probably be more pronounced due to the nature of this mold. The texture could only be as pronounced. So just by easy kind of imaginative DIY, you could in my opinion, create a nicer billy ball. Now this next bunch, the rose, vena and cata, is probably my favorite out of the whole lot of Sugarartstudio that I have. And I'm not even a mad fan of rose, but the vein is amazing. It's so lifelike and the quality is fantastic, so it's easy to operate. It's not too hard and not too soft. I don't know if this is showing up properly, the lovely texture. But anyway, so yeah, I just love it. And those cutters as well. I love the cutters. I use them not just for rose, but I've adapted them to many other sugar and coral porcelain flowers that I've made, and they're just very, very good. I would have perhaps liked to see this vena a little bit bigger, but seriously, I don't have any complaints as such. It's a lovely piece of tool, really. By the way, Robert Hines sells a rose vena that is very, very similar to this, but is slightly a touch bigger, and sometimes a touch bigger could make a huge difference in the diameter of a rose. That said, because I already have this one, I didn't go and buy that one too. Now, for those of you who like to know more about veiners, I'm going to be making another of these veiner videos, at least one more, in a couple of weeks' time, where I'm going to discuss some of the very common, well-known veiners and cutters, but not the Sugarartstudio ones, but perhaps some other well-known makes. So stick around. Subscribe not to miss it, and obviously if you like this video, please add like. I would be very happy about that. Okay, let's proceed now with the next one. The Spider Chrisantemum carta is quite a unique one. As far as I know, Sugarartstudio are the only people who have made it, and it certainly is, like the rest of their cartas, it's quite well made. It's thorough. It looks like it wouldn't cut very well and things would stick in it and not come out, but I haven't found that to be the truth. Paste does come out quite well. You need to be careful with it, and different paste would behave differently. But no, it's quite a usable cutter. This cutter is very expensive. It cost me about £36 to start with, and then I got a tax bill for it for about £17 afterwards, something that I wasn't expecting. Perhaps I should have been, but it wasn't on my radar and it never cropped up during the transaction at any point. So yeah, over £50 you'd think perhaps is a little bit excessive, or perhaps you might think, well, it's a very good unusual cutter and is an investment in my trade. So whichever way you look at it, these are the costs. Now, I have to say that majority of my Sugarartstudio's cutters and veiners I got when I was in New York, and I got the whole lot of them sent to my hotel. It was very easy transaction. I didn't even have to pay for the postage because of the volume that I was buying. I have about 20 of their cutters and veiners, perhaps more. I don't use them all, but I have few favorites, as you could see from this video. So, am I using it to make a beautiful chrysanthemum? Is it worth the money? I would say that on the hindsight, I would happily pay the American prices for it in America. As to the ordering, I'm not so sure. I think the middle works really well, and you can buy them separately, by the way. So the middle is nice and it's very versatile. You could use it for so many different flowers. As to the two outside cutters, I am not convinced that they are actually worth it, because it's quite hard to secure them in. I think that for a really durable flower and nicely spaced out flower, you probably would be best off wiring your outer petals, as painful as it may sound. So yeah, one of the inner strips is a very good idea because it just cuts it nicely and neatly, and the paste doesn't dry out, and it's versatile. Could be used for many flowers. And the outside petals, I'd say, exhaust every other avenue you could think of before going ahead and splashing out for the outside petals. They're okay, they're not fantastic in my opinion. So if you enjoyed this video, please add a like, and if you're using Sugarartstudio's veinis or cutters, make sure you leave a comment and tell us how you're getting on with them. Other than that, I suppose I'll see you next Thursday. Have a lovely week, or what's left of it. Christina Wallis, Cake Philosophy here.